afternoon, everybody. Silverbolt here, back for a Transformers review. Going to be doing, as per the title page, Skybite! Yes, I have him transformed. And I just want to say, firstly, to everybody who messaged me with links, or who told me where I can find them. One bloke even tried to give me an extremely complicated written version of how to transform Skybite, which I really couldn't follow, but thank you so much for taking the time to write it. Some people even, scanned in their own images, scanned in their own instructions of Skybite, and posted it on things like Photo Buckets. So really, the response I got was phenomenal. I really wasn't expecting such a huge response in my request for Skybite instructions. Good lord, what would happen if I asked you to send me money? Let's try that one day. But yes, I managed to get Skybite transformed relatively well. I mean, I'm sure it's wrong in some regards somewhere, but you get the gist of what it is. Skybite, of course, is in Robots in Disguise, or RID for short, or there you go, tell the right way up, or Car Robots, I believe it's called in Japan. And he is the Predacon second in command, directly under Megatron, and he comes in the second episode, Explosive Situation, I believe it's called. And at first, he appears to be this big, hulking, powerful, grrr, I'm all evil, baddie. And he seems to have this cloaking device on him that never gets seen again for some reason. However, that image of Skybite as the ultimate evil is quickly destroyed. Whereas the other three Predacons, Gasgunk, Darkscream and Slapper, tend to be the deliberate comic relief, Skybite just ends up being a very unfortunate victim of circumstance. If he happens to be running across and there's a rake in the middle of the way, Skybite's going to be the one that's going to step on it. The number of times he goes face first into a boulder, it's so funny. All Skybite wants to do is gain Megatron's approval. He just wants Megatron to love him and acknowledge him as the big baddie. Even to the point where he has cute little dream sequences, with those very emoticon-style Transformer imagery. Skybite's there with the big anime doughy eyes on him and the little dream sequence going above his head in the little white bubble cloud. And you've got a very cartoonesque Megatron and a very cartoonesque Skybite, and Megatron's praising Skybite. And you can practically see the hugs and kisses. Unfortunately, it never really works out that way for him. And in many ways, it's not even his fault. Usually the other three Predacons mess it up for him. And not in a good way either, because there are instances where they deliberately mess up Skybite's plans. It's not that they just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. They deliberately screw him over because they don't like him. I mean, he is an arrogant hothead at times, but you just end up feeling so sorry for Skybite. I mean, it's a pity that Skybite was never in the mainstream Transformers, because Starscream is a lady's favourite for some reason. But if Skybite came into it, Skybite would be a ladies' man, purely for the fact that he's such a doofus. He really is a prat. Skybite develops a love of poetry. Now, he does try various classic literature, things like Hamlet. To be or not to be. This guy can't make up his mind either. And it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Best or worst, which one is it? It really skates him over his head. Yeah, before I was doing this video, I decided I was going to try and practice doing a Skybite-esque voice, seeing as so many people like my Warpath impersonation. Unfortunately, it came out a cross between Muttley and a Scottish Yogi Bear. So, no, I didn't do the voice for Skybite. But it probably would have been quite amusing. I've just popped out his gun. Now, Skybite does develop after learning poetry. He starts writing poetry. Particularly, he starts writing very bad haikus. Usually about the people he's about to demolish. But it does reveal a softer side to him. And there's an episode where Skybite, in one of his ever-present bids to impress Megatron, decides to take hostage a group of people in this skyrise. One of the people that's in there happens to be Koji. Anyway, it gets to the point where something happens and the building starts to fall. Skybite, realising that he's about to lose his edge, goes and tries to hold up the building. And within the space of about 15 seconds, Skybite goes from trying to protect the hostages to suit his own ends to protect his hostages. Because everybody starts cheering him. And it goes to the whole point. I mean, there's a very comic moment in that episode where Skybite is telling the other three Predacons to help. And the other three Predacons are going, and then suddenly Skybite's head just goes, in that cartoon-esque way that RID sometimes has to have happen. And from there, it rapidly deteriorates for Skybite, because he starts becoming a good guy without meaning to, and he fights quite rigorously not to become a good guy. But all of a sudden, all the kids of the world suddenly think that Skybite is David Beckham. You know, they love him. Everybody takes the piss out of him, but people still love him. And unfortunately, he ends up with his very softer side. And it makes the Autobots think that there's hope for Skybite, you know, that he's not all bad. Skybite and the Predacons, as I said, don't like each other. However, they like the Decepticons even less, so they frequently team up to try and stop the Decepticons from succeeding and gaining favour in Megatron's eyes. In one episode, they actually dress up as various Autobots, and I think Skybite dresses up as Rail Racer, with these big, huge plasticard things like sellotape to him that eventually get put on fire. And it does lead to some highly comic moments. You know, Skybite is the one where if he's hurtling at full speed towards a wall, his eyes do the whole bugging out his head thing. I mean, there's one episode where there's a wall of... It's the one where they first find Fortress Maximus, and there's a wall of water rushing to him. And though it's a very funny moment, Skybite starts going, ah! It's really quite ironic, because Skybite's a shark. And it leads me nicely on to the next point about Skybite, in the fact that, well, he's a shark, and he may have a softer side to him, but he also is an extremely capable warrior. In an underwater battle with Optimus Prime, he nearly kills Prime. No, he's a very efficient soldier. And he's an extremely powerful warrior. So, whilst it does provide very much a comic element to the episode, where a lot of this stuff in RID has very comic moments, it does seem rather out of place. Skybite's loyalties towards Galvatron, after Megatron, of course, gets his upgrade in the form of a new paint scheme, Skybite starts to reevaluate his loyalties where Megatron is concerned, especially when Megatron, to recharge himself, starts stealing the life energies from the other Predacons. As such, he's less willing to throw himself into battles. Towards the end of RID anyway, the Decepticons and the Predacons are defeated, and they all end up being sent back to Cybertron in Superman 2 style prisons. Skybite, however, is allowed to remain on Earth, and the last scene in RID, as far as I can recall, is Skybite swimming away in the open ocean, happy as Larry, singing to himself about what an intelligent, brilliant shark he is. Okay, I'm going to get onto the toy now. I'm just going to transform him. I'm just going to stop the camera and transform him, mainly because there's a lot of fiddling and turning, and I'll be back to you in a moment. Here we have Skybite in his robot mode. As I said, Skybite's an extremely capable fighter. You know, he's a merciless killing machine when he gets going, and he's got quite a strong series of weapons. I mean, his jaws can bite through pretty much anything. I mean, there's in the episode where they find Fortress Maximus, you see Skybite chewing through a cable car, thinking it was a cake. All the other Transformers see Predacons. Skybite sees a cake. But anyway, he's got his main central weapon is in his chest, a Susani blaster. Yeah, RID is weird like that. It does a very Yu-Gi-Oh style. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do before I actually do it, and that's actually repeated in other Transformers episodes, series as well. Okay, his handgun in his toy mode. He doesn't actually have one, I don't think, in the cartoon. Is his shark missiles, which are normally in his mouth, and they come obviously obligatory spring loaded. Getting better at that. His shark mode is very, very nice, and though it's a bit fiddly to do, it's a larger toy, so it's not as finicky as the likes of, say, Sideburn are. I think Sideburn's supposed to be the worst for transformation. Once I actually figured out how to do it, it's quite a large toy. Its colours are pretty fucking vile. I mean, he's bright yellow and deep blue. You know, he really is a clashed colour scheme. Though it does have the very skybite-esque sneer. You can't really tell. But he does have, the toy mould does have a very skybite kind of sneer to it. A very, very nice toy. Not a great deal of posability due to these obscenely huge shoulder fins. I suppose you can call them pauldrons, but... And the fact that the back of the shark's head sticks out like a duck's ass. I mean, Skybite's not an original toy. He's a recolor of the Transmetal 2 Cyber Shark from the Beast Wars toy line. Though, of course, the Transmetal Cyber Shark never actually makes it into the cartoon. Purely from the comics. On the subject of the comics, Skybite appears once in a various Dreamwave comic. Unfortunately, there was a toss-up between which was going to be the next comic between either RID or Beast Wars. Beast Wars 1. So you don't see Skybite again, though he does come into the Transformers Con voice actor play, which was a weird thing that I don't really know an awful lot about. But Skybite again is very loyal to Megatron and composes a haiku about it. A very, very nice toy in either mode, actually. You know, some toys, some Transformers toys, they're not good in both robot and in both alt mode. Skybite is an exception. He really is very, very nice in both of them. As I said, not a great deal of posability, but it comes with this little gizmo. If you twist the thingy there, that moves. Mine's very squeaky. So a very nice toy in that regard. Aside from the colour scheme, which is quite outlandish and quite garish, it's quite funky. I mean, there's a lot of detail paid to it in the pauldrons. If you look, that's all different colours. You know, really giving a lot of emphasis to the fact that he's a robot shark. On eBay, Skybite won't set you back that much as a rule, for the simple fact that RID isn't as well known. It's not really as well known as some of the other series, so the likes of Cybertron, Transformers Cybertron / Galaxy Quest, or obviously the G1 stuff. But still a very, very nice toy. I wouldn't recommend it as just a casual toy, because it looks out of place beside any other toy range apart from RID, which has that very almost Looney Tunes cutesy anime look to it. But yes, that's Skybite. A very funky toy, an absolutely awesome character, especially with his "it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, which one was it, make up your mind" kind of job. Yeah, there's the voice. And I know I gave the line wrong, but never mind. Okay, but for now, this is Silverbolt. I believe I may actually, as thanks to everybody who sent me all those instructions, I may do another Transformers video today. In fact, it's only R4, so yes, I probably will do. So I've already got somebody lined up. But anyway, this is Silverbolt for now, with Skybite signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.